Welcome to Players Only, your backstage pass behind the scenes of today's PC and video game industry. I'm Scott Steinberg, and today we're looking at MMOs, persistent online worlds inhabited by thousands of fans. Co-host Casey Young and I ask, why choose virtual reality?
Well, online gaming is something that's been around for a long, long time, but what's happening right now is it's growing to this huge, huge audience. It's becoming mainstream. So we've got people that usually engage in, more mainstream media that are coming and spending time. So it's not just the sort of niche, crazy gamer in the corner anymore.
I think massively multiplayer online games can be for anybody who's looking to connect and have a great time playing games and finding great social connections with other people. I look at online games as a great opportunity for people to overcome some of the challenges that they have and interact with people face to face and lowering their sort of social concerns and boundaries that they have when they're in the same space.
I've heard people say that, it's just losers who go into these worlds. No, it's a form of entertainment. I know plenty of people. A friend of mine specifically, she has 3 kids, they're young kids, and this is a huge form of socialization for her. I know people whose husbands are serving in Iraq, and they are online playing with their husbands at night, having this opportunity to socialize together. Virtual worlds are just another medium through which we as human beings are socializing, but more important than that, we are socializing way across state and city lines. We're socializing internationally.
There's always going to be some weirdos sitting around crafting all day, and God bless them. That's why we make the games for them, so they can do that. But no, MMOs are actually incredibly broader than, in fact, most people think. One of the fascinating things about, say, EverQuest is that you would have guilds with members as young as 8 to 10 years old to as old as 60 or 70 years old. And the mix of people within MMOs ranges from everyday players to celebrities who have an anonymous escape that's afforded to them by this environment.
A lot of people have that kind of stereotypical view of our fans, but I think the reality is much different than that. I think most World of Warcraft players, they hold jobs, they're normal people.
Hey, normal's good, but just how nutty do you have to be to dream these worlds up? And what does it take to build them?
What does it take to make an MMO? I'd say the first thing is you got to be a little crazy. Making these games is really an enormous undertaking, something that you really have to be committed to. We always fantasize sometimes wouldn't it be cool just to do a single player game, but honestly the reward for doing an MMO is seeing people playing your game.
The big thing that it takes is experience and kind of a desire to go into areas where people aren't currently focusing, because this is a business, not just an experience of making the game part. You have to actually be able to make money.
You'd be hard pressed to find a AAA quality MMO that costs less than, let's say, $10 million. It takes less than 3 years to develop, and it takes less than 50 to 70 people in development team.
What it takes to make an MMO these days is quite a bit. It involves a heck of a lot of planning and a lot of tests and a lot of iteration. And it does require a heck of a lot more than, say, if you're making just an Xbox Live Arcade game or a PlayStation downloadable network game. You have to account for thousands of people simultaneously interacting with your systems.
Good point, but who's doing all this interacting?
We have, mothers of 3 after they put the kids to bed. We've got kids. We've got, lots of adults, people playing after work, before work, some during work, probably.
I'm playing with my wife. I'm playing with my friends that are very social, that aren't these hardcore people, that aren't programmers necessarily. And I think it's becoming a social norm now.
I don't like to refer to our fans as hardcore or obsessive. I think those are somewhat negative connotations. I think we have very enthusiastic fans that are passionate about playing our games.
Well, when you're talking about massively multiplayer online games, World of Warcraft is 10 million people strong, and it's not just for geeks, it's for everybody. But the rest of those games, it's still kind of a stigma attached to it. You're like dressing up or cosplaying or something, but WoW has definitely made it mainstream, and it's only going to get bigger.
Cultures of MMOs are, still, I think, evolving from the sort of primarily fantasy genre games to other type of experiences.
As opposed to just kill, monster, rinse, repeat. We're trying to go for a new form of gameplay. We really want to bring MMOs into something beyond the fantasy genre, which it's dominated by right now.
I've always said that the term MMO is actually going to go away. People are just going to assume a game that comes out has an online component to it. The question is, how deep does it go?
Deep enough to affect us all, apparently, because social networking is becoming one of the fastest growing outlets for the game business. But really, is there anything to it?
Social networking is one of those phenomenons that I have to admit caught me completely by surprise. I never really thought that trolling for friends on a website would be something that so many millions of people would gravitate to, but they do. Now that they are, the opportunities, if you're a smart developer, are almost limitless.
Literally, the numbers on social networks are exploding, and our game network has doubled in size every 8 weeks. So today we have 1.4 million daily users, and in December we had 600,000 daily users. We have games like poker. We've recreated games that you've played one way or another, like car racing, real-time strategy games. It's really the whole gamut. But what's unique here is that these are low barriers to play. They're really casual and dumb and simple.
I'd say social networking in a gaming context isn't going to be real until somebody can figure out how to attract people to their site and then have those people interact. Right? Even the social networking sites that we're seeing that are popular, the MySpace and the Facebook and Friendster is dead now, I guess, but those sites you tend to go visit and consume as opposed to directly interacting. I think the gaming community probably is the best to build a social network around, but no one's figured out how to do it yet.
In large groups, people tend to like to play games that have a non-fiction component. That is to say, games that are accretive to their regular life, and games that somehow make them feel like they have a real shot at winning. Overall, we tend to think of interesting and persistent games that are relevant to communities as being based around status. Status is the ultimate game, and it's the game that everybody plays, and even people who claim they aren't interested in playing status games are in fact playing their own kind of status game. Large-scale status games enable everyone to participate and everyone to engage in a lifetime's worth of play. So the future of games, and the future of games certainly on the internet and digitally, centers around our ability to create compelling experiences that are status games in effect, with all different kinds of experiences layered on top.
And that's all, folks. We'll see you next week on Players Only.